So we're back on the 36. We're going to keep working on the floor on the passenger side and doing the exact same thing we did on the driver's side. But I'm hoping to speed through that and get to actually working on the firewall. I'd love to get the firewall done in this video. We are also we're using our new camera. I was fortunate enough to be given a camera thanks to my wonderful wife. And we got mic set up and hopefully everything works well. Now, we obviously can't use the same template because one, I need room for the exhaust. The plan for the exhaust is to run duals, but it's going to dump out of there and there's room for it on the floor over there. But here, my exhaust has to come right here. And so it'll be right here and I need a little hump to give it room. Something about like that. That's pretty good. Oh, could you get your hand in there? I don't know. If that were out in here. So to get up in there and actually get your fingers on it, you'd be down is using as much room as possible, but still being able to get those in and threaded. And I'm touching it, but I don't know, maybe I could get it there. I bet I could get your lines in and maybe get a wrench on them. Yeah, hot rods. They're not supposed to be easy. Yeah, we'll just come out here and make a shape like that. Time for a little heat. I'm just roughing out based on the template corner we already had to make our little fancy bracket. Think I might be out of gas. Okay, so I went ahead and welded the rest of it and ground it down without showing you since it's, not rocket. Now we've got that first leg set up. I've got everything copied with a pin underneath, but now we got to get it on the other side. Okay, so after a bunch of trial and error, I've ended up with I need a shape in here, I need a shape in here, but then we need a bead in here and a bead in here. So a bead here, 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 and then here, and one up there. But you can see in green is what the general idea is going to be to lay all this stuff out. Guess it's time to start rolling. Actually, so I'm going to stretch it with my planishing hammer in the areas that we're going to shrink. I'm just going to go around my green marks, and then we're going to use the bead roller to shrink it back and hopefully keep it flatter this time. I couldn't leave well enough alone, and I went ahead and redid this one just because I didn't sink that one down, And so I made this to match, and I think it looks all right. It's not perfect, but nothing we do is perfect, but I didn't show you that. What I'm getting ready to do right now is actually use some sheet metal screws to set this where I want it, and I want to screw it in place. I'm not going to weld it yet because we got to do the whole firewall and all that jazz. So right now I'm just trying to make sure this is sitting where it's supposed to be. All right, I'll bring you back once I've got all these screwed down. We've reached the part I've been avoiding for this whole video, and it's time to work on the firewall. Ah! So I do have the sheet metal screws in holding the floor, and that turned out really nice. We are ready to start our firewall. So there's your transmission coolant lines, your dipstick's right there, and your exhaust is right here. With this design, it's going to be very tight to get that to work. But if I instead have this design where it's just taller and it's basically out from here over and in, it does steal some foot space, but I don't think that's going to matter as far forward as that is. It may. I'm going to figure out that depth, which looks to be 1.5 inches right there. I think I'm just gonna break it and go from there. Really doesn't matter which way I bend this. It's just once it's bent, then I have to work with the right direction. After that, a little more than that, I think. I don't want a full 90, but that's pretty close. Just a quick check here. Yeah, it's a little extra, but I'm just gonna step on it. That's a lot closer. So what I'm gonna do here is when I stood on it, I just bent it a little. I'm just gonna get it back like that without going crazy. Oh, I need to tighten that. There we go. So if this piece is in there like this, then here is where I roughly need it to start rolling. There we go. Tighten that down. Come back a little bit. And I do want a little bit the whole way. But I need at 3 for it to get a lot more aggressive. And I'm trying to go the same amount of pressure on each. Ouch, smashed my finger. Let's go see how close that is. You can see we're getting our shape in there. All right, let's see if we're getting anywhere close. I think we need to bring it in over that more. Oh, back and forth, back and forth. Isn't it fun to go back and forth, back and forth? I am tired, so. Oh. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to get there. I'm just going to pull up on it a little bit. I think we were too much aggressive there. See if you can watch me go back and forth here. Now we're going to bend it. All right, okay. That is pretty dang close. We were trying to make that shape, and we currently are sitting just like that, which isn't too bad. Let me see if I can get my shadow out of the way, and you can really see it. That's pretty close to our rough outline. I'm gonna try and get this to fit a little bit better. This edge here needs to be a little flatter, and so I'm gonna flatten it out on here and then start working my way around. So this is not going as well as I would like. So what I'm going to do now is set this board on here. I'm going to sneak around the front. I'm going to try and trace it. Ow, as I hit my head. Now, I'm going to cut this out on and use it as a buck to get this shaped right, because this is driving me bonkers. I cut it out with a reciprocating saw. I didn't even use a bandsaw. Then I sanded it down a little bit, and we need this to fit in there, and hopefully you can see through there to see how bad we are. But we're just going to take and clamp everything down. I'm going to anchor it right there and just start beating the snot out of it till it fits. Now hopefully we're significantly closer, and I definitely think we are. I'm just going to put that bend back. I did a few more tweaks on it, and if I can get, this is where I really wish I had two hands. Maybe from the other side. Like that is really good. We're gonna use these guys. Come on. Be nice to me. Or at least helpful. One clampy. Last but not least. So I have this flush with that. We have that bar that goes around, and I have it flush with the bottom on this front side. And I don't think, I'm only going to go up to here with this. I decided I'm going to work, I might go ahead and cut that off. No matter what I do, I don't think it's going to matter. I'm not going to fold it over. I don't think that makes any sense. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece off, and then I'm going to work on this part. But I'm kind of wondering what it would look like to make, I don't know. Let me cut this, then we'll figure that out. I want to focus on next is joining this. Now I could just do like a lip and something straight, and that would be the easiest. I know I said I was going to work on the top, but what I was thinking, if I just make a quick basic part that'll mate up to. So now I've got to solve, I'm trying to make my solution basically be, I need a shape to here. Oh, magnetic level. So what I'm saying is I need to go to that. Well, I like the idea of this, so I'm going to approximate there. So now we need to connect that. It's that time of year where one day is like stupid cold, and like last week on Tuesday, I think it was minus 20, no, minus 14 was our lowest. But I just spent, I don't know how long. My son's basketball is a big deal in my house, and my sons they shoveled the lane, but they hadn't really cleared everything else off. So I just spent, I don't know how many hours shoveling to get the court clear. So hopefully maybe it'll dry, but the problem is it's gonna flood for a while till it's all gone. But I think we're supposed to be in the 60s most of this week for some reason, and I'll take it. But now I'm hot and sweaty. All right, back to Firewall fun. Woohoo! That shape right there is so hard. There's got to be a smarter way for me to do this. I'm trying to keep that room for that gas pedal, and we got quite a bit shaped there, and I want to have as much foot room as I can get on this side, especially for the pedal. What would it look like if I made a curve that went from that wall around here and just had a hump, and I cut out a recess to fit this and have all this fit? So what I'm saying, instead of making all this crazy complicated crap, what if this just simply came around? Well, it's getting in my way, but just make a curve like this, so it lands here and then it lands over there, and then make it work. That might work. We're gonna waste some metal, but that'll be fine. So I think we've got it. I did cut a little too much out there, but basically we're gonna roll it over and around with this template ballparked in, and there'll be more trimming right here, but I don't know exactly how much yet. But that is what we're gonna make. So now let's lay it out on our bent piece of metal. Now, pretty people still need our full face shield. Now, there's actually a few bends, like we got to bend some of this stuff up. need this part to get bold. So I'm going to use my planishing hammer to give it that, start getting that shape into it. I'm bringing you back after doing quite a bit of just working on the planishing hammer, bending, trial and error, just to keep you from being so bored. But this is where we've gotten to so far, and I've got some marks and we're getting closer here. I need to bring this in and I need to dive that deeper. I still got to do all of this whole side over here, but hopefully you can see we're getting a lot closer. Of course, I should be about there. I'm still pushing a little bit too much that way on this one, and I need this to go in more, and I think I need to bend it a little more. So you can see right here where it is, and then I think a lot of that will line out. On this side we have, maybe I'll bring it over here, see a little bit better. On this side I've just kind of got it started, and again I'm going to go down here to the bottom to give it that, just the radius, but a chunk of that's going to get cut out when we put our block out plate, I guess. Just that little step in there. And I'm trying, we're going to cut a lot of this off. I think I'll leave just like a 1/4 inch underneath it, and then we'll tap that from that side against everything, but I'm going to spot weld it all along here, and then that'll give us 2 edges to seam seal on. But I think that's going to end up being a whole lot better. It'll replace all this where we got thin and messed up those pieces, and it'll clean a lot of this up and make it look much cleaner for the tunnel. And I don't know, I kind of like how simple that has become. It's still a complicated shape, but this one really doesn't have to be bowed more. It can just be flowed down. I still got a fairly good line there. And I wish I could figure out a way to clamp it and just do some hammering in place, because that would help more than anything. But I haven't come up with a good way to clamp it in place, but I might look at that next. I've got it clamped up where it's hitting the firewall. Right there, you can see we're too far forward that way. I'm just trying to get that a lot closer on the rough shape, and then we can start fine-tuning everything. I use that like I'm fine-tuning. All I'm really doing is hitting stuff really casually with a hammer and using some homemade tools to try and make something look prettier and like I might know what I'm doing. But you can see just doing that makes that sit in there a bunch better. So I'm over on the workbench and I'm going to use my little anvil to try and take some of this stuff out. In all likelihood, I'll probably get this to where I can spot weld it to these points and get it close, and then take everything out and weld it outside so I can do a lot nicer job. But all right, lunchtime. I think it's time to cut some stuff. Don't forget, pretty people need a full face shield. I should probably move. Don't look at my butt. Now we're just gonna bend up these tabs. We left that over here because we need that length yet. I didn't cut all of this out yet because I don't know exactly how the flat firewall is going to all tie in, so it just seemed to make sense. This is how this is fitting now. We did a little more work, but it's very close. I made these a little sharper. I may still bring this down, but I'm more worried about covering that with our, oh, I put it out there. But I think what I need to do next is bend those up. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a relief and a relief. Haha, we might be onto something here. So I'm basically trying to make a straight edge right here, like I'd get on a brake, but without figuring out how to get a brake in a floor. I think I might go just a smidge farther. Aha! Look at that, my precious. My precious! All right. Now. Oh. There. Okay. Oh. All right. So if you look right there, you can see we're pretty close to being the angle we want, but there's definitely we need to bend the corners down just a little, and we need to maybe bring it up just a little, but that's pretty close for a guess. I think it's time for a couple of sheet metal screws. See if we can't start really finalizing things. So this guy we built from right in there. If anybody knows how to keep your magnets clean or clean them once they get crap on them, leave a comment down below. I fight that like crazy. I must not have enough juice. I'm going to have to go up on wattage. I'm trying not to dick anything up here. All I'm doing is dicking it up. Not great, but he was fighting me, so I just got it to where I could do it. I'm not sure how much of it showed up on the actual camera because it was not going well. Trying to hold three things with one hand and weld and all that sort of sucked. So now maybe we'll do this side before we do that side. This side looks so much nicer and happier, friendlier. There. Now ballpark of the size we need. So of course we're going to cut it long. Let's go see what we got for metal. I just went ahead and cut this out rather than pricking with all of that. I mean, you've seen me cut metal out 1,500 times. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Draw it quite a bit low, drop it lower if I can. I want to make sure I have enough lip for that. I want to have that metal completely covered. The bracing we put under here, that was the whole idea. And so I drew that with enough length to work with. So now we can start thinking about how we want to bead roll it or what we want to do there. Probably what will make the most sense, if I find my cap, is to just put a lip and push it from the inside. I'm still pretty. Okay, I've got it set up. I'm trying a different die this time. We'll see how well it goes. I really screwed that one up. Whoopsies. I was trying out a different die, but I don't think I did it very good. Oh well. So after practicing on the first one, I then cut out another one, and I don't know if it recorded or not. So I have this set up to where this will go, it'll go over and then set down in, is what we were hoping for right there. So I got a clamp holding this panel in now, and I want to trace where it's hitting because I need to lower. Okay, so it came out a little bit further in than what we had originally. So I think I might hammer this whole line because, again, I didn't have it clamped. I didn't think to do that until that time. So I think I'm going to hammer this all flat along just this edge, and then we'll bead roll up it again. Started. Okay, 1, 2. Do I need to? I think I need to go down a little bit more. There you go. Much nicer. Look at that. And now we gotta bring these two surfaces together back in there. Yeah, you can see the light. So we gotta bring that together. But we knew we were going to. This needs to come, the straight up panel needs to go that way, and we need to flatten this out and be nicer to each other. But that was worth redoing that top line. That looks so much better right there. cleaning this up, this piece here, and I accidentally blew through there. And I actually didn't blow through it. When I was hammering it on there, it must have gotten thin, and that hammering broke it. I had a couple holes I needed to fill on this edge, so I went ahead and did that and cleaned a lot of that up. But now we're going to make a new piece to go along here and fix this. Here we go. But to get this shape, this time I'm not going to try and do the roller. Instead, I'm going to use the big bead roller with these dies I got. And I'm not very good at it, so we'll see. But you can, it's a tipping die, but it lets you do it around corners and stuff. And so I'm going to try, and I've got several different versions. Well, not several, but I've got a few different types of material. I'm going to try a little bit harder one, the steel one. I'm going to use that on the bottom and try and roll this piece I've cleaned up into that shape. It'll take a couple passes to mimic it right, but we'll see what we can do here. You can see it start to bend. Maybe that shows it better. And I'm lifting to do that. I'm just trying not to go super fast. I'm gonna clamp this together and see if I can't finish shaping it. So I've got it clamped, and you can see how well it's laying. And then we're gonna have to trim and hammer that over a little bit, but I don't think that's gonna be too hard. I think we'll go ahead and trim it and then work with it from there. I might leave that a little longer in there because it wasn't as snug as I wanted. And then we'll cut this one. Now my line that I drew is here, but I'm going to cut it way down here. And that will give us the start of our panel. Now we've got to start working that down and around. Okay. Back and forth, back and forth. Everything is over and over and over. Oh, just making it up as I go. That feels excessive. But cut this tang off. I'll be right back. Okay. After a ton of clamping and hammering and stuff, I think I've got it close enough to be able to patch it now. So I got the patch in and it's put back in place. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack this curved part that our cover to this just in a couple places. Then we'll pull all of that out, work on it outside, and then we'll put it back in and see how it all is working as one unit, get it all finished and cleaned up and solid. Okay. Starting to come together. Hooray. Now that I've got it out, I'm going to clamp in here and get that a little bit tighter and put a couple more tacks in there, and then we'll cut and weld it. I'm just going to keep doing this, and then I'll bring you back when it's done. After way too many hours, we finally have a pretty good, actually, working, hold on, there we go, panel here. Now I still have to finish up this end right here, which I cannot seem to figure out where I put the piece I already had made. I went ahead and tacked this one in, but I think what we'll do, I want to find that piece because I designed it to sit up under here and come down, but we'll find it and then screw everything in place. But I don't have hours, I have days in this thing to get it to its current point. I'm very excited with it. It turned out better than expected, and it does fit pretty nice once everything's screwed in place, but I am stupidly pleased with how it's all working. Okay, I have found the piece. We will screw that guy in. I think what I'll do is get this put in place. I'm just going to cut that off and make it go under. I'm going to leave, let's go with at least this much. We're going to leave this space and that space, and then cut out this section and get it welded in place, and then we'll put a piece there, and then all we have to do is I need to take this top piece out, trim it, and put that bead roll in it, and then weld everything in place with spot welds and do the finish work. So I think I might bring you back when it's done, but this by far took ages of just trial and fitting, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out, and it's gonna be fine when I put that in place. That's just a matter of welding in those two pieces right there, and we'll spot weld everything. It's going to get spot welded in place. So like spot weld, and then I'll seam seal everything. Probably even these that I put together, definitely along there. I'm going to make that push up tight and weld that solid. From here to here will be welded solid, both this side and that side. But I think I might show you some of the next steps, but for the most part, I think we're about done. Holy cow, this has been a huge project. But it's worth it. Well, I cleaned up a little bit to give us some more room, but you can see, and I have not screwed this back, but that piece would be there. Here is here's our firewall outside of the truck. And in fact, let me go ahead and run a... Of course, I picked the sloppiest one. All right. Ow! That pinched me. Pinched my fat. And there's quite a bit of work left to do. And if you'll remember, what started this whole process was wanting this to make this look a lot better. We've got to, of course, hammer these all down and get it flush together. We need to make sure these seams look better, decide what we want to do right in here, as well as right in here, and then just get everything fitting really well. We've got a ton. In fact, so like those gaps need quite a bit of work. Same up in here and all that. And if we didn't have the engine and transmission in, we could have easily done that. These look pretty good, and this isn't too bad. We just need to work on getting everything lined up to where it flows good. But now I'm going to try and clean everything up and figure out where it's going to go. And then eventually we're going to probably keep this about this lip all the way around our blue line. We'll keep that and we'll bead roll it and be ready to put it all back in. And now for the tedious task of drilling holes, cleaning everything up, getting all the holes ready prepped so we can actually spot weld everything together. I've got this piece here tacked into place, and I did some real quick test fitting, and I'm gonna have to do that one in the cab because getting the floor and everything together. But this one I can go ahead and tack on, so I'm gonna do that. When we'll be ready to put it in the truck, I've got it pretty well cleaned up. You can see how much nicer it looks to have it like that. And then of course we're going to have seam sealer all on all these edges to help really hide them and clean them up. But it's turning out a lot better. I'm very happy. I ground this down a lot better. I added a few more tacks. It's going to get seam sealed too, and we'll seam seal all along here. I'll do both sides because I really want it to be sealed on the firewall. I don't want exhaust and stuff coming into the cab. I'm just very happy that I took the time to do this because it's looking so much better. So now I'm going to take this piece off, and I'm going to clean this whole thing up and make it look at all pretty. I'm not going to show that. I'm just going to sand it with the DA and try and make it look all nice and pretty and be ready to put in, and then I'll bring you back when we put it in. So I went ahead and got some more screws in, and I've got a couple clamps in place. And I think what I'll do first is I'll work on putting some spot welds in to hold this stuff in place and just keep going from there. I've got this corner up to here, and I'm just going to keep working my way all the way around, and I'm going to do it as all the way around in that order. I'm not going to go side to side or whatever. Fitzy says that you don't want to do that because it'll bunch and it won't be as flush and stuff. And so I'm going to stick with someone who's done it a lot more than me on spot welding and putting things in. So that's what we're going to do. I probably won't bore you with the whole thing. I wanted to show you this really well. I was just clamping, and I drilled extra holes, and then I'm using the sheet metal screws to hold them, and then I'm clamping up, and they're probably, I didn't actually measure and lay it out, but I laid them out roughly, about every 2 inches or so, 2.5, just to have a decent amount going around there. Because again, we're gonna seam seal the whole thing inside and out, but that gives me a good strong mechanical connection. So we just finished spot welding and grinding down all of that first panel just up and around it to get ready to do the hard stuff I thought I would show you that's different than the boring stuff. But here's what I think super cool. I got this in. Look how stiff that is this time compared to it. Now we're going to bead seal all of this to fill that in, but it is already looking so much better than what was there before. We're not even done, but this is how the outside or the engine compartment side has turned out. All of this, it's spot welded and it's been ground down and it's in place. I still need to do all of the bottom. So basically from this corner up and all the way down to that corner is in place. This floor is not. I took this floor out so that I could get in, and now I need to work on, I'm going to try and get to here and spot weld as much as I can. It's pretty tight. I tried to clean all this out with a vacuum, but I missed some. One of the reasons we kept this open right in here was so that I could get in here and clamp down where I needed to. I will say this is fitting really good. So I'm going to go ahead and spot that one, and then we may have to hammer and dolly as we go. So that gets this tacked all the way from here with a touch in the corner over to here. The nice thing is, once we get all this in and put together, we'll be able, the cab will be solid. It'll be one thing I can take off, and I'll be able to take it off, and then we'll be able to actually get underneath it and clean up anything we need to clean up and do all that. But I'm getting ready to put the floor pans in and finish up the firewall, but there's a couple things I need to do first. Right here, this isn't tacked down to the bracing or spot welded down to the bracing underneath. We're good back here is about halfway through. It's like, this is 1 inch bar. Back here, like that line right there, is on the other side. So I definitely don't want to cut and butt everything up. But I think what I'm going to do is come in here and trim up to about here and have that be fully welded, and then I can weld it all. I think I never put this down because I don't know what I was doing. So I'm glad I found that, because I don't want that loose. But then we'll go ahead and finish putting all this in and be ready. I've started drilling the holes in here. I need to fill this hole right there, and I need to fill the second one up there. Then it'll be ready to put in. I need to finish drilling holes on our driver's side. A lot of busy work here real quick, doing the final prep to put everything back together. There, hopefully you can see it. I'm going to take and balance this right there. I'm going to take this guy and set it right there. I'm going to grab this and try and clamp it like that. That should hold. The passenger floor is now welded in. There's a couple spots I need to touch up, but it's good enough to move forward. Turned out pretty nice. We're going to work on this guy. I've got it swept up a little bit, and I put some more of the sheet metal screws in. We're going to go ahead and start pushing and spot welding this in. So here we go. That gets all that welded in place. We still need to do the back side of where the screws came through, and then I've got a little hole right there I need to decide how I want to patch. I'm going to clean this up real quick, and then this side is in. Holy cow, I'm super happy with that. We still have to do the floor over here and then attach the firewall to the front. I think I'll probably do the whole floor over there off camera, just because it's the same as here. Spot weld, put it together. We're so close, it's not even funny. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, we have got a lot done. Most of it was just busy work that you'd seen me do, just the welding and that kind of stuff. Sorry, as I'm trying to figure out my way in, but I did some touch-ups on these. I just wanted them to be fuller. It had some small holes in the welds where I just needed to touch them up again, make sure they were fully in place. So we did that. I got a ton of this sanded and ground down, and it's pretty well ready for seam sealer on this side. The one thing I still need to do on the passenger side, apart from cleaning up those few spots I touched up, I need to cut this to match the other side. I'll show you that real quick as we walk around the truck here. I forgot to remove a piece of tape from when we first mocked up our firewall, and whoops, it burns. This was the shape rough. It goes up like this, and I'm going to match it over on the passenger side. This is the driver's side. It's not the exact same. From the factory, it did this and came up, but we went a little bit lower to make our footwell bigger. I still got to weld these spots in, and then this will be fully welded, just ready to grind. We've got all the spot welds and welding done on here. So we'll basically spot weld up there, and then the last piece to finish is this spot there. I don't think I can do that with the engine and transmission in place, so I'm gonna wait till I take the cab off to finalize that. Maybe. There we go. Oh, there went a neighbor. Okay, let me see if I can get this. Nope, too big. Aha, that's what she said. Maybe a little tighter. All right, get our mask on and try and weld it. I put a bead on that because it looked, there's a little bit of imperfection on it, and I wanted it to be perfect, but there you go. So I got everything ground down on the floor. I did not go ahead and grind down the firewall on the outside because I plan on pulling the cab off so I can get in and work on that tunnel a lot easier. So I'll do that then. But here's what it ended up looking like. I'm pretty excited about it. And it's not perfect. I've never claimed to be a perfectionist, but it's so much better than what it was. And you can see it looks better up on the top. It looks more like it was thought out and wasn't just stuck together. There's still a few odds and ends to put back, but I'm digging it. The front, what started this whole thing, you can see, look at how our joints are, how much better they fit together. Like this corner specifically was the one that I hated more than anything. And look how much cleaner it all is. Sorry, it's just not a lot of room to show it. It all is in through there. It doesn't look like a hack job near as bad. 10% hack instead of 130% hack. But I like it. Looks a lot better. I'm not going to be embarrassed to open the hood in front of people now. Is it perfect? No. Is it good? Good enough? Yeah. I'm pretty excited about it. Honestly, it's one of the better things I've made. So I'm pretty tickled with that. I learned a lot doing this, and hopefully you guys liked watching it. But I am tickled. I can't get over how much better that looks right in there. Oh, yeah. I think we're going to call that a video. It's been a long journey to get these done and an incredible amount of work. I don't know how many hours of footage alone I have. So I really appreciate you sticking around and watching till the end. If you would, please leave a comment down below. I like hearing from you and just talking back and forth. Also, if you wouldn't mind liking and hitting that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate that. And until the next time, don't forget, the only time you can't do something is when you won't. Thanks for watching.